This is Lesson 13 in Algebra 1, Multiple Symbols of Inclusion, more on order of operations and products of signed numbers. Multiple symbols of inclusion. Really all that is multiple parentheses, I guess, for a lack of a better word. And really the only way you can do this is to just try them. So this is example 13.1. So, got a lot of parentheses and braces and brackets, and I really don't care what you call these things. I get them all mixed up. I think this is a bracket, and this, oh, that's nasty, is a brace maybe? Anyway, the key thing is knowing how to use them, not anything else. So, we're going to start out with our inward parentheses here. So we've got these in here, and we got this stuff in here, and we just work our way out. The last one, obviously, is this squiggly thing. I think they call it a brace. So that's the last one we're going to do, and then we've got the bracket, which is the next one, and then we have the parenthesis, which is here and here. So we start solving this from the inside. So we're going to start with our parentheses or brackets or brace, whatever the innermost one is there. And so then we've got 4, and then that 2 stays there. Negative 3 minus 2 is negative 5. And we'll leave that in parentheses because we haven't done anything with these two. We know we're going to take this and multiply them. So I want to leave the parentheses there so that I can do that. Now I can multiply them. And I get 15 minus 5 minus 2. And 4, 2, 10 minus 2. Okay, now I multiply. Well, let's see. I had either end of my parenthesis there. Doesn't really matter. And I'm just going to change to these now. As long as I only have one, it doesn't really matter. So this is 40 minus 2 equals 38. So the key is not whether you keep the braces and brackets and parentheses straight. The key is to work from the inside and work your way out, making sure that you use your minuses and everything correctly, or your negatives correctly, and making sure you don't do anything non-mathematically, which people have a tendency to do with these, because these are kind of tricky. Let's go to 13.2. So we've got 3 sets there. Yeah, your volume is fine. I just wasn't talking. Okay, so we're going to do this first. And that's going to be times negative 2 over negative 3. We might as well do this one too, 4 minus 2. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to do this here. So we've got negative 3. And negative 5 times negative 2 is positive 10 over negative 6. So we have negative 30 over negative 6. These are positive. A negative and a negative is a positive. 30 divided by 6 is 5. And we're done. So it's just practicing and practicing. And you know that when you make a mistake doing this, which we all do as we're doing these, they're kind of hard to find, the mistake that you made. So sometimes it's easier just to start over again and see if you can get through it without making a mistake. And usually the mistakes are pretty simple mistakes. Okay, so back to PEMDAS, which you've been doing when you just did those, set those, gosh, what are those things called? Symbols of inclusion. We're going to do the same thing when it comes to multiplication and division, as well as addition. And let's see if we can find one that they're going to give to us. Okay, we're going to do 6 plus 3 times 6 divided by 2 minus 6 times 2. Alright, so we're going to start on the left-hand side, and we're going to do our multiplication and our division from left to right. So 6 plus 3 times 6 is 18 divided by 2 minus 12. Okay, now we're going to divide. Now we're going to add and subtract. Okay, so that's it. Now notice when I did this here, I took 3 times 6 divided by 2. So I did 3 times 6 is 18, divided by 2 is 9. So that's where that came from. That's really the only, that's not really even an example from the book, but that's all they give you on that one. And then they move us into products of signed numbers. And this is what I've been pushing all along, and they're just getting to it. When you have numbers with signs, meaning plus or minus signs, oops. Remember what I said, you count the negatives, and if it's an even number, your answer is going to be positive, and then you just multiply the 4 times 3 times 2 times 5 times 6. And that's it. So, nothing really spectacular as far as that is concerned. If your number of negative signs is odd, then you know your answer is going to be negative. So that's it for lesson 13.